Hey guys, I'm Rebecca and today I'll be showing you how I turn these plain old leggings into this really cute crop top. So make sure you keep on watching if you're interested in finding out how I made this. So I'm grabbing my leggings and laying them out, and the first thing I'm going to do is cut along the seams. So I'm cutting open the crotch of the leggings and I'm cutting open the leg of the leggings as well. And this is going to help me lay out the fabric so it's flat, which will help me cut out the pattern that I'm using to create the top as well. So once I cut those seams, I was able to lay out the fabric and see exactly what I was working with, and then I moved on to creating the pattern. So to create this pattern, you already know I'm using the t-shirt that I already own and I like the fit of to create this. So I've just folded my t-shirt in half and laid that on one side of the pattern paper, as you can see here, and I'm just going to go around with my pencil and trace out the sides. I'm actually not adding seam allowance because I want my t-shirt to be a tiny bit smaller, and I also know that with the leggings I'm working with there isn't too much room, so it was okay if it would be a bit smaller than the t-shirt that I was working with here. So I'm just tracing out with a pencil all of the markings, and then I'm going to go back in with my marker and my French curve to make those lines really clear. Then I'm going to go ahead and cut out the pattern paper. Next, I'm going to grab the leggings. So there's two pieces that I'm working with here, and I'm folding the legging piece in half and laying the pattern paper on top of it, and I'm just going to cut that out and then use that piece that I've cut out to create the second piece, because we need a back piece and a front piece for the t-shirt. For the sleeve, I literally folded my fabric in half, laid the t-shirt or the sleeve of the t-shirt that I was working with on top of that, just on the fold, and then marked out with pencil where I wanted or traced the sleeve onto the fabric itself. I did a bit of seam allowance, especially for the hem, and then traced it out and cut it out, and I cut out two pieces for the sleeves, which you can see I'm doing here. I wanted this tutorial to be really easy to follow without too much structure, so that's why you can see I'm almost kind of freestyling, like especially like the sleeve pattern for example, but still using a design that I own and a design or a t-shirt that I like to make sure that the structure of the pattern comes out quite nice. And you'll see from the end result as well, even though I kind of took this laid back freestyling approach, it still worked and came out really, really nice. So if you guys prefer tutorials like this that is more laid back instead of with like structured patterns, let me know. Or if you prefer the structured tutorials with the patterns and everything like that, let me know as well. So as you can see, I've cut out my first sleeve, so now I'm going in with my second sleeve, and I'm using the sleeve that I've already cut as like a template or a guide. So I'm just grabbing some excess fabric, folding that in half, placing the first sleeve unfold on top of that, and just using it as kind of like a template to cut out the second sleeve. So granted, I want the bodice for the front piece to have a bit of a deeper neckline than the back piece. I'm grabbing my t-shirt again and I'm just tracing out the neckline for the front onto this piece that I have here, and I'm just going to use it as a guide for cutting out the neckline. Again, I want my neckline to be slightly wider than the t-shirt that I'm using, so I'm not adding seam allowance. If you want your t-shirt to have the same neckline as the t-shirt that you're working with, make sure that you add seam allowance to your pattern piece here. Once I've done that, I'm going to grab and lay my bodice pieces together, right sides facing, and I'm going to start by pinning along the neckline, or the shoulder of the t-shirt rather, and then I'm going to jump onto my sewing machine and stitch that with a zigzag stitch. Next we can attach the sleeves, so I'm just laying out my bodice piece flat as you can see here, and I'm going to grab my first sleeve and pin it to the top, or to the middle rather, of the seam that we just sewed for the t-shirt, starting with, so I'm matching the middle of the sleeve to the seam that we've just connected, and I'm going to pin that, and then I'm going to pin the end of the sleeve to the edge, or the end of the armhole of the t-shirt, on one side, and then repeat that for the other side, and then I'm just going to pin in between as well. I'll put an image on the screen so it will explain much better than it sounds like I'm explaining at the moment, but I'm just going ahead and pinning the sleeves onto the t-shirt for both sides, and then we're going to stitch that. So I'm laying out my fabric, and I'm going to now pin the sides of the t-shirt that is coming together, and that's what we're going to stitch next. So I'm starting by pinning the sleeve, just so the seams that we've stitched there are matched up, and then I'm going to pin down to the hem of the top and pin up to the hem of the sleeve as well. So the last step is the hemming step. So what I made sure to do first is to grab my measuring tape and measure down from the shoulder, because in creating the pattern I wasn't that structured in cutting it out, so I wanted to make sure that I got my measurements right in terms of hemming. So I measured down 15 inches from the shoulder, and then folded that up and stitched around, so the length of my top will be 15 inches. For the rest of the t-shirt, so for the neckline and the shoulder, I just folded up half an inch and pinned that down, and on my sewing machine I used the 1/4 inch line on my sewing machine to hem all around the neckline, the bottom of the t-shirt, and the shoulders as well. Once you stitch around the hem, you are all done. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this tutorial by liking and sharing, and make sure you check out these sewing tutorial videos as well. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.